What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for January 8th, 2024. Hey now, don't dream it's over. Hey now. Yes, to borrow a line from the 80s band, Crowded House, don't dream it's over. There will be no return trip to the Super Bowl this year. What a pathetic display yesterday. I felt as though last week was rock bottom for this team. I was wrong. And unfortunately, I can see the writing on the wall. We're not at rock bottom yet, folks. We are not at rock bottom. Like, next week is going to be... buckle up. It's going to be an interesting offseason. But, like, going through my notes, and I stopped taking notes at one point. I guess let's start with my boy Scott, who called Tyrod Taylor eating the Eagles alive, which absolutely happened. Tyrod Taylor destroyed the Eagles with a hurt finger. Like, okay. Yes, it was a matter of pride thing for the Giants. Congratulations, you beat the Eagles for the first time in 5 times. You did so by hurting your top 5 playoff pick, draft pick. So good job, you got us, guys. But that just, I feel like that's just they're eventually going to be better. Washington's eventually going to get better, but I guess we can take solace in the fact that dumb shit like that happens with our teams in our divisions. Like, yeah. Good job, guys. You beat us for the first time in 5 games, but you lost a chance at a top 5 pick. Well, you absolutely need a quarterback, so good job for that. You got us. Also, one last thing on the Giants. It's a testament to how horrible they are as a team and an organization that the only team that the Eagles have beaten since they've been 10-1 is the Giants in a game that the Giants very easily could have won. But enough about them. This is about the Eagles right now. And one note I wanted to put out there was Quez Watkins. Why are you celebrating first downs when your team is down 24-0? Come on, dude. Like, I cannot wait for this dude to be off the team. Like, read the room. Like, nobody cares. You're terrible. You're only playing because AJ got hurt, Devontae's hurt, and everybody else was like, it was the backups. Like, do not celebrate a first down when your team's down 24-0. Yes, you made one it was a nice catch you made in the end zone, but come on, dude. Like, be better than that. I mean, and there's plenty of blame for this to go around. I guess you start with Sirianni, and I question what his plan was. It was almost as though he treated this as a preseason game, and the players came out flat like it was it just was a weird dynamic the way they came out. Obviously, the defense couldn't stop anybody. You have Hassan Reddick playing pass defense again, which I don't know. I mean, sure. I'm not quite on the fire Sirianni bandwagon as hardcore as everybody else, but I think it's worth taking a look at. I think, yes, they took them to the Super Bowl, so I almost maybe gets a free pass, but this is freaking embarrassing. I like I said, I thought last week was rock bottom, and I was wrong. I think the worst is still yet to come with this team. This is kind of what I was afraid was going to happen. It's sort of snowballing out of control. And on Back to the Future, I've done some things on the 64 Phillies. And one of the things they all said was during that collapse, they knew they were going to lose. It was just a matter of how they were going to lose. And I feel that's where we are with this team right now. It's not a matter of are they going to lose. It's just how are they going to lose, which again goes back to just how bad the Giants are that they allowed the Eagles to win a game. But I don't think anything's going to stop this right now. This season is a lost cause. Like, again, joking around with Crowded House, but yeah, I mean, don't dream. It's over. No need to give yourself the nightmares of the Eagles possibly trying to make a run, because it ain't happening. There is no way it's happening. And it's like they forgot how to play. I've never seen it. It's like it's such a mental thing. Like they forgot how to play. Like this isn't like a baseball player who goes in a slump and is having trouble and like working his way through it. They have all for just like fundamentals, like things you learned in Pop Warner, things you learned just as a kid. Like they're not doing, missing blocks. Nobody can tackle on that team. And the one note I did put down is when the second team got in, at least on defense, I mean, they played halfway decent. I question whether and how much effort the Giants were putting into that. They might have had their second teams. But the things I saw from them, I saw them flying around the ball on defense. I saw them actually wrapping up and tackling. So I don't know then that I was all set on coming on bashing the coaches. But when you got those guys trying to get stuff on film and doing the fundamental things right that we don't see the first teamers doing, I question whether it's coaching or the player's heart. And I hate doing that because I know a lot of the former players hate when you question a player's heart. But that team has not played with heart for about 5 weeks now. Since maybe the first Dallas game maybe. They have not played with any type of heart. And when I see second teamers coming in there, wrapping up and tackling, and the first teamers can't, like, I question whether that's coaching. Now, sure, maybe the coaching, they need to coach the starters back. I don't know. There's so much to go around. Jeff Lurie is going to have a lot to think about. And, of course, the NFL is not doing us any favors, putting that game on Monday night at 8 o'clock, just prolonging our misery. Like, I mean, it's a cruel, cruel joke the NFL is playing on us. So thanks a lot for that. Like, just making us hang on now an extra day. I would have loved the first game on Saturday, just get it the inevitable over with. But, yeah, Tampa Bay, Monday night, 8 p.m., can't wait for Rachaad White to run for 175 yards and 3 touchdowns on this defense. Can't wait for I gotta say, like, I'm questioning whether or not Jalen Hurts is even going to play in this game. The way that finger looked, I just don't know where to go. And I mean, Vegas, like all the books, like what the hell are they thinking? There's nobody in their right mind should have the Eagles should not be favored against anybody right now. Like, the Eagles would lose to Michigan or Washington. The Eagles might even lose to Temple right now. That's how bad they're playing. I mean, so hammer. I'm telling you right now, the pick of the week is right now for that game, hammer Tampa Bay. See how many, like, as many points as you can get with Tampa Bay, hammer it, because this team is not beating anybody. They might not even score a point. That's how bad they are right now. And again, like, I just ranting right now, and again, I'll get hopefully maybe more coherent tomorrow. I don't know. This is reminiscent of like the 64 Phillies, but I question whether this is worse than the 94 Eagles, who were 7-2 and then lost 7 in a row under Rich Kotite, which Jeffrey Lurie was the owner then, and he fired Rich Kotite, and Rich Kotite didn't take him to a Super Bowl, but dealt with a lot of injuries to Randall Cunningham throughout his 4 years. Went 36-28. Rich Kotite was not a bad coach during his time in Philly until that 7-game stretch. And Lurie had a short leash for him. Granted, he was a new owner. So, I mean, the precedent is there. So, does that mean Sirianni could get fired? I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of change on this team. A lot of guys getting older. I don't see Kelsey, Brandon Graham, or Fletcher being back. I mean, so we'll see. I mean, I don't want to get into that because we'll do the post-mortem in a week after the season. Right now, this team is on hospice, and it's just a matter of time. In the NFL, I would like to thank Roger Goodell for extending my misery for one extra day, douchebag. But again, I don't know. And that leads us now to the question of the day. And I'm trying hard. Positivity is a choice. I'm trying to choose to be positive, but this team makes it goddamn hard to be positive. So my question of the day is, which is the worst collapse in Philly sports history? Is it the 64 Phillies? Is it the 94 Eagles that went 7-2 and dropped 7 in a row? Is it the 99-2000 Flyers who had a 3-1 lead in the Eastern Conference Final and Eric Lindros coming back and then blew it? Or any of the Sixers, take your pick, from the late 70s to the mid 80s, under Joel Embiid, just any Sixers choke, do they top that? And I have to say, I mean, to me, it's really, you know what, take the Flyers and the Sixers out of it. To me, really, it's the 94 Eagles, this Eagles team, or the 64 Phillies, because this is extended. At least with those Flyers and Sixers teams, it was in a series and it was short-lived. I mean, we've been dealing with this for 6 weeks now. So let me know. That's the question today. 267-495-8531. Send a voicemail. Send a text message. Which collapse in Philly sports history is the worst? The 64 Phillies, 94 Eagles, or this year's, the 2023 Eagles? And it seems like every 30 years we have one of these, 64, 94, and technically this is going to happen into the 2024. So, I mean, I guess it's our normal, our cycle of choke. I guess every 30 years we have a massive choke. I don't know. 267-495-8531. Get your thoughts on this pathetic game, the pathetic Eagles. What is your favorite, I guess? What's your favorite collapse, most epic collapse in Eagles or Philly sports history? What are your thoughts? Just vent if you have to. Leave a voicemail. Just scream on the phone if you have to. And we're, like I said, I feel like it's just the inevitable is going to happen. We are terminally ill, this team is, and it's just a matter of time before Tampa Bay takes us out back and puts us out of our misery. And, of course, we have to wait an extra day for it. It's just ridiculous. But one thing you can do, I'm trying to choose to be positive. It is a national championship for my Wolverines tonight. But get my subscribers up to 100. Go to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mott. Like and subscribe. Let's get that up over 100, because once I get to 100, it opens up many more doors for the podcast and growing it. But, man, what? I don't know. Flyers in action tonight against the Penguins, so hopefully they can do something and beat up on Pittsburgh. And, of course, the Steelers make the playoffs. Of course. I know a lot of people from Pittsburgh, and I've been hearing a lot about it. So, of course. So, would love to see the Flyers just come out and beat the hell out of the Penguins tonight. Maybe you don't want to get Phillies gear. Maybe you want to get Flyers, Sixers, or Eagles, I should say. Get some Phillies gear. Believe. Pitchers and catchers are not that far away. Go to Philly Goat. Get your Believe shirt. Get ready for the Philly season. They have a wide selection of Philly sports-based apparel. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off your order. Go to phillygoat.com. Maybe it'll make you happy. Maybe get your Philly stuff. Get you looking forward to the spring and the nice weather. But go to Philly Goat, Jim Montgomery, for 10% off of your order. That's phillygoat.com. Promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off of your order. All right, so today we're going to go back to 2022. And on this day, the Eagles lost to the Cowboys 51-26 to close out their season. However, that score is misleading. The Eagles had already clinched a playoff spot and were resting their starters, which in hindsight probably wouldn't have been a bad idea to do yesterday, but I digress. And of course, the Cowboys, being the cockroaches they are, took full advantage and ran up the score on the Eagles as they were playing for playoff seeding. Gardner Minshew started for the Eagles, threw for 186 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Cowboys did finish with the 3rd seed and promptly lost to the 49ers in the first round. So karma, once again, comes back to bite the Cowboys in the ass. The Eagles were back in the playoffs for the first time under Nick Sirianni, lost 31-15 to Tampa Bay, but the future, or so we thought, was bright. I don't know what happened since then. We went to the Super Bowl and then it all fell apart. Maybe we need another flower pot speech. Maybe we need some Miracle Grow or some weed killer. I don't know. We need something to harken back to those days to give us some hope. But again, don't dream. It's over. On this day, back in 2022, Cowboys beat the Eagles 51-26 to close out the season. The Eagles were heading to the playoffs and rested their starters, where they lost to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers 31-15 before getting it all together last season and going to the Super Bowl. And now here we are this year with a bunch of crap. All right, today's Philly free agent who had a fresh start in Philly, Andrew McCutchen, and he signed with the Phillies in the 2018 offseason. Unfortunately, he tore his ACL in 2019. He was one of those rare ones. He didn't necessarily have a resurgence that led to a career thing. But when he came back, he was playing well. He played well after the injury, and he was playing well before he got hurt. He became a fan favorite here in Philly for a short time he was here. He was a good clubhouse guy, and I like to think, and if you think about where they were, he played a big role in the development of that clubhouse and getting that winning mentality around the guys. His best season was 2021, where he hit 222 but had 27 homers and 80 RBIs, provided a lot of pop in that lineup. 3 years in Philly, he had missed half a year because of an injury, and then the other season was COVID. He hit 237 with 47 homers and 143 RBI. Not too shabby, but he was more the intangible guy. Again, he was a big part of establishing that culture when Bryce Harper came in. Sort of almost like a transitional guy. I look at somebody like Jim Thome, sort of did the same thing. But he was traded twice more, or he was traded twice in 2 years before coming to Philly, so Philly provided him some stability. As I mentioned, he didn't necessarily have the bounce back that he thought because of his age, but we loved him here, and he did have a couple solid seasons here in Philly, and like I said, really provided a lot of entertainment during COVID. Even during those seasons he was here, provided a lot of entertainment and was a good clubhouse fan favorite type guy. So today's Philly free agent who had a fresh start in Philly, Andrew McCutchen, definitely made me think differently of him, just because I had a bias because he played for the Pirates. But very good guy who had a nice little resurgence in his career here in Philly. So Andrew McCutchen, you are our Philly free agent who found a fresh start when signing. On this day back in 2022, the Eagles lost to the Cowboys 51-26, heading into the playoffs where all the starters rested. Be sure to call and get in, or call or text the voice and text line 267-495-8531. Get you in. Plenty to vent about today. What are you thinking about the NFL putting us on Monday night at 8? Like, anybody really wants to see that game? But I don't know. Let me know what the biggest collapse in Philly sports history is. Is it the 64 Phillies, 94 Eagles, or 2023-24 Eagles right now? I just don't know where to go, where to begin with this. I'll have more on it. I do think Lurie has a lot to be thinking about. I'm anxious to see how this playoff game does go, because if they play the way they played, I would not be surprised or necessarily opposed to Nick Sirianni getting fired. I've seen, like I said, Jeffrey Lurie do it with, I shouldn't say less, but like that 94 Eagles team went out to San Francisco and beat the 49ers, who were going to win the Super Bowl that year too. Like, they 40-8, I think this is bad. So let me know what you think. 267-495-8531. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let's get up over 100. It's going to be okay at some point. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History. I'm Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Monday. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.